Okay, in this video we will talk about how to sync the same book to all your devices and also how to have your library in the cloud so you can download them directly to your Kindle, for example, or your Kobo or your XDA ink or whatever you use. So here, for example, we have a Kindle Paperwhite. It's jailbroken and it runs on KOReader. But in KOReader, I have installed a BookFusion plugin. That means that if we go out from this and go back to my library, like so, here if we go up in the menu, we have the BookFusion plugin, as you see there. So if we go into that, we can now auto-sync everything, highlights, reading positions and so on, to BookFusion. But we can also download books from BookFusion immediately to your Kindle. So here we can see currently reading, favorites, plan to read, completed, series, all books. So for example, currently reading. Here we have the books I have opened and started reading in BookFusion. So here we can see I have downloaded that book. So if I want to download that book, I can just click on that and then choose a folder, and I have already set that folder to my books folder, so I can download that like so. So now it starts to download that book from BookFusion. So now it has downloaded that. So now if we go back to my library, we don't see that book yet because it hasn't updated the page. An easy way to do that is go through here and go back to home, then it updates. So there we have the book. So if I now open this book, I can start reading it and it syncs to BookFusion. So if I start reading this book now, you can sync to wherever you are in this book. So now I can sync to BookFusion by go up here, go into BookFusion. It automatically syncs. You don't need to do this really, but I will show you. You can push the reading position or fetch the reading position, or you can sync highlights. So I will push the reading position here. So now I have pushed that reading position. We can now leave this device. I go out to my library like so. So now we can, for example, start, let's say, on this being Highbreak Pro that runs Android, we can start KOReader that has the same BookFusion plugin, or we can also read directly in BookFusion if you want from that app. So for example, if I now go into BookFusion here, you can install BookFusion on iPhone, Android, you can use it from the web in a web browser, Mac and whatever. So now if I do an update there, we will see that book there. We can open that. It will sync to the same place in the book where I was on this device. I am now on this. So if you use an iPhone, you can use that app on the iPhone. Here we have an e-ink device, the Big Highbreak Pro color. So I can now start reading this book in total sync with this. Or I can also go into KOReader here. Now I have already downloaded that book from BookFusion, but you have the same menu here. BookFusion, you have BookFusion, and we can browse books. You see here currently reading and so on. We can see if I have downloaded that book, and you see it's downloaded. So we can open that book now, and we will be on the same page as on the other two devices, like so. Here we are on the same page as we are on this device and also in BookFusion and on this device. Works great. And to be able to read the same book on all devices, you need to use KOReader sync on the same device. So let's say we go into the Kindle. If we open a book, let's say this book, if we open that book, you should be able to have progress sync. That is the normal KOReader sync. So if you have the BookFusion installed, to be able to have your book library from BookFusion on all devices, but you still want to sync to these devices that doesn't have a BookFusion. It runs cross-sync firmware on these, but they have KOReader sync. You can also have KOReader sync started on the same device as you have the BookFusion sync. So if you have automatically keep this document in sync here, you can sync the same book to XD Ink by just open your XD Ink, and here we have the book. Now if I want to sync the same place I am in on these devices, I can click long press on this button because I have set that in the settings in cross-sync. Now it fetches the remote progress, and here you see it will sync to another place in the book, as you see here. So if I now select that, it will sync to the same place where I left off in the other book. Works great. So if you have both KOReader sync and BookFusion sync on, you can sync the reading progress to all your devices and also use your BookFusion library to add books. You can't add the books to an XD Ink device with just cross-sync or cross-point. There is some firmware that supports BookFusion, but I think they are a bit buggy still, so I will not use them for now. But if you use KOReader sync on these, you can sync to reading progress. But to be able to do that, you need to have the same file name as you have on for example, Kindle. So if we go out here in the library, now it needs to sync before it leaves the book. Sorry for that. Like so. So now if we long press on this book, we will see what the name of that book is. So here we see it's called the hive.epub. So if we now go into this, to be able to sync the reading progress to this using KOReader sync, the book needs to be renamed as the same name. So if we go here and browse books, you see that I have two books but at the same name. But here we have the right book, the hive.epub. If it's called that, it will sync to all your devices running KOReader. That is how easy it is. So if you can add your book to your XD Ink with that name, it will sync. That is how easy it is to sync the reading progress between all your devices. I have done a lot of videos about this before, and I will do more videos for sure. I'm sure of that. So I don't think that's a problem, because you know I do a lot of tutorials and so on. But here we have one video with showing you how to sync. Okay, bye.